Hello and welcome to Miss Finance. On this channel I go through various accounting and finance related topics to help you whether you're a small business owner or a student studying towards your qualifications, whether that be AAT, CIMA, CIPFA or any of the other accounting qualifications. So I hope you found all of the videos today of use to you. Today's obviously a little bit different as I'm talking to you directly through the camera as opposed to being behind a whiteboard or notes of some kind or even an animated video. So today we're going to go through my top 10 journal questions that I get asked by students. But before I do that, I just want to say how amazing it is that we've got over 380 students in the Facebook group and over 290 subscribers to the channel. It just blows my mind. So I guess that it shows that people are gaining some benefit from the channel, which is amazing. But if there's a topic that I haven't yet covered or you can't find or you're struggling with, then please do leave a comment in the comment section below and I can take a look at that for you. Otherwise, let's get straight into it as always. So my top 10 journals are firstly prepayments. How do we account for prepayment? So what we'd do is we would debit prepayments on the balance sheet or the statement of financial position, and we would credit the nominal in the profit and loss or income statement. So we're effectively stripping out the costs from the profit and loss account and putting those on the balance sheet. Number two, accruals. So how do we account for an accrual? So an accrual is a liability on the balance sheet or statement of financial position. So we're therefore going to credit accruals to increase accruals, and we're going to debit the nominal in the profit and loss account or income statement. So that might be for gas, electricity, telephone costs, that sort of thing. Number three, how do we account for depreciation? So depreciation is a cost in the profit and loss account. So we would debit depreciation in the profit and loss account or the income statement, and we would credit accumulated depreciation on the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. Number four, how do we account for amortization? So it's very similar to depreciation, but amortization relates to intangible assets, so something that you can't touch. So what we would do is we would debit amortization in the income statement or profit and loss account, and we would credit accumulated amortization on the balance sheet or statement of financial position. And what we're doing by doing that is the same with depreciation. We're reducing the carrying value of that asset in the financial statements. Number five, how do we account for bank interest received? So bank interest received is income effectively. So we would credit the profit and loss account or income statement to bank interest receivable or bank interest received, and then we would debit the bank because that money's come into the bank on the balance sheet. Number six, how do we account for accrued income? So accrued income is effectively income that we haven't yet received but we're owed. So it might be a grant, for instance. So what we would do is we would credit income in the profit and loss account to account for it in that period, and we would debit accrued income because it's effectively an asset. So money we've not yet received. Number seven, how do we account for deferred income? So deferred income is money that we've received that we're not due to account for in this period. So we're going to defer that into the next period. So what we're going to do is debit income in the profit and loss account to reduce that income, and then we're going to credit deferred income on the balance sheet. Now, if you ever get confused between what accrued income and deferred income is and which way round they go, then always remember the AA rule. So you can't have accruals and accrued income, no AA. You have accruals and deferred income, which are both liabilities, and prepayments and accrued income, which are both assets. How do I account for a sales invoice? Can't even speak English. How do I account for a sales invoice that has VAT on it? So you would credit sales in the income statement to increase the sales. You would credit the VAT control account for the VAT element, and you would debit the debtors control account on the balance sheet to increase that asset, because that's money that's owed to the business from a customer. Number nine, how do we account for a VATable purchase invoice? So a purchase invoice that has VAT on it. What we would do is we would debit the nominal. So if it relates to gas, we would debit gas in the profit and loss or income statement, and we would debit the VAT control account with the VAT element of that purchase invoice, and then the gross value we would credit trade creditors, because trade creditors is a liability on the balance sheet, and that's money that we owe to a supplier. And then finally, number 10, how do I account for a cash sale? So all you do there is you would credit the income statement, so credit sales in the income statement to increase sales, and you would debit cash because that cash has been received, so you don't need to record it in the trade debtors account because the money's been received there and then. It's not a credit sale, it's a cash sale. So as always, I hope you found this video useful or at least entertaining. Consider subscribing and I shall see you on the next video.